Okay, I want you to do something for me. Raise your hand, metaphorically, of course, unless you're driving. Then please don't. If you are still feeling that post-Christmas slump.
Oh, definitely.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That heavy, slow, I ate way too much cheese kind of feeling.
I think that's just a universal human experience. It's that January grayness, the holidays are over, everything feels a little bit flat.
It really is a struggle. But here's the thing. While we might be dragging our feet, the automotive industry has apparently decided to just sprint into 2026.
Yeah, no slump there.
Not at all. I've been looking at this stack we have for today, reports from Days, the market analysis from architectures, everything electric cars, and I have to say, the vibe is completely different this year.
It is different. For the last, decade? We've heard people scream, "This is the year of the electric vehicle."
Every January.
Every single January. It became a bit of a boy who cried wolf situation.
Yeah.
We were always waiting for this revolution that was, just around the corner.
Right. A lot of hype, tons of promises, and then you'd look at the price tags or the charging situation and you just go, maybe next year.
Precisely. But looking at the data we have in front of us, 2026 actually feels like the turning point. We're moving out of that early adopter phase.
Yeah, the phase where you had to be a tech nerd or
Yeah.
just have money to burn and a lot of patience.
Exactly. We're moving into a mature, stable market.
And that's really our mission for this deep dive. We want to cut through the noise of dozens of model launches, because there are dozens, and find the patterns that actually matter to you.
Right.
Because the options, they aren't just science experiments anymore. They're actual cars for actual people.
That's the headline. The science projects are over. Now it's about mass production, usability, and frankly, making cars that people actually want to buy, not just cars they feel they should buy.
So let's start with the numbers. We have this comparative analysis from architectures measuring the 5-year leap from 2021 to now early 2026. And honestly, seeing the numbers side by side it's kind of shocking.
It tells a very clear story of technological maturation. If you cast your mind back to 2021, what was the standard range for a mid-tier EV?
Oh.
Maybe 300 kilometers.
If you were lucky. And driving downhill with the AC off.
Right. You got 350, you were throwing a party. But today, in 2026, the real-world standard has jumped to between 400 and 600 kilometers.
Wow.
And that psychological threshold of 500 kilometers, that's about 300 miles, that's now commonly beaten. And not just by six-figure luxury cars.
That changes the whole mental calculation of owning one. You stop planning your life around the battery gauge.
Yes, it stops being a trip to the charger and just becomes driving.
And the other half of that equation is the time you're plugged in. Back in, 21, 22, you were sitting at a charger for 40 to 60 minutes to get from 10 to 80%.
That's a long lunch. That's half a book.
I remember those days. You'd finish your coffee, check your email, call your mom, and you were still only at 50%.
Now that window has dropped to 15 to 25 minutes. We're
Wow.
seeing 800-volt architectures becoming common, which lets them take much higher power.
So it's basically a pit stop now, not a residency.
Pretty much.
So those old 50 kilowatt chargers we used to see, are they basically dinosaurs now?
They're effectively slow chargers now. The highway standard is 150 to 350 kilowatts, and the infrastructure has exploded to match. And just looking at the data from Italy, which was a bit behind charging points, went from under 25,000 to over 55,000 in 5 years.
That's a massive jump. It feels like the infrastructure is finally catching up. But I want to pivot to something that isn't just about hardware. One of the terms that keeps popping up is the software-defined vehicle. It sounds a bit like marketing speak. What does it actually mean?
Well, it's a shift in philosophy. Previously, a car was hardware with some software kind of tacked on to run the radio.
Right.
Now the car is the software. It means the car plan stops intelligently. It preheats the battery 20 minutes before you arrive at a charger, so you get max speed immediately.
So it's proactive, not just reactive.
Exactly. And, like your smartphone, it updates over the air. You wake up, and your car might have better efficiency or a new feature that wasn't there yesterday. Keeps it feeling new.
Speaking of interfaces, we have to talk about my absolute favorite term from the Everything Electric Cars source. They called it the unshittening of VW.
It is a colorful term, isn't it? But from a design standpoint, it's incredibly accurate.
I laughed out loud when I read it. But it refers to a very real problem Volkswagen had, right?
Right.
It wasn't just people being picky.
Oh, it does. VW had a really rough start with the ID series. The software was laggy, the menus were confusing, and they had those awful capacitive touch sliders for volume and climate.
The ones that didn't even light up at night. I remember the reviews. Trying to change the temperature in the dark and blasting the radio instead.
And all that piano black plastic that was just a smudge museum 5 minutes after you touched it.
Yeah.
But the 2026 Wave models like the ID.2 All, the ID Polo, it marks a huge pivot. They're bringing back physical buttons, they're using tactile materials, they're getting rid of the piano black.
It's a return to usability.
Thank goodness. It's a victory for common sense. Technology should make things easier, not harder.
Okay, let's shift gears, pun intended, to what I think is actually the biggest story of 2026. We talk a lot about supercars and tech, but the real revolution seems to be the price tag.
You're right. The headline isn't some 1,000 horsepower hypercar anymore. It's the under 25,000 segment. This is where mass adoption actually happens.
Because for so long, the argument was, yeah, I'll buy an EV when it costs the same as my hatchback.
And 2026 is the year that excuse kind of disappears. The lineup is incredible. First off, you have the Renault 5 E-Tech, that modern retro icon, looks fantastic, and the new Twingo.
The Twingo is coming in under 20,000, right? That's bargain territory.
It is practical, great design, affordable. But don't overlook what Stellantis is doing. They have the Citroën EC3,
One source described that car as a big, lovely box.
which in car design is high praise. It means it's honest, it maximizes space, it starts under 25K, gets about 320 kilometers of range. It's just good transportation. It's not trying to be a spaceship.
It's trying to get car.
Exactly. And then, of course, the electric Fiat Panda.
Yes. And not just the regular one, but the Giga Panda.
The larger crossover version, yeah. But what fascinates me is the Panda 4x4 concept. It's being pitched as this spiritual successor for, mountainous regions. Think of those old pandas scrambling up hills in the Alps.
I love that, taking that rugged heritage and making it electric. But it's not just the Europeans in this space, is it? The Asian contenders are coming in hot.
Aggressively. You have the Kia EV2 and the Hyundai Ioniq 2. I mean, these companies are masters of efficiency, and they're targeting that exact same small, affordable market.
It's great for the consumer, all that competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, speaking of Asian manufacturers, there is a narrative in our sources that Japan has been sort of
Dragging their heels was the polite phrase I saw.
Mhm.
Japan, they dominated the hybrid era with the Prius, but they were very slow to fully embrace pure EVs. They bet big on hydrogen and hybrids staying dominant longer.
But looking at the 2026 slate, it seems like they've woken up.
Oh, 2026 is the year Japan goes all in. It's like a floodgate open. Nissan is launching a new Leaf, a new Micra, and an electric Juke.
The Juke is described as funky and weird, which honestly is exactly what I want from a Juke.
If it's not weird, it's not a Juke.
Exactly.
Plus, they have a sister car to the Twingo called the Pixo. So Nissan is covering all the bases.
And Toyota, they've been the most vocal skeptics.
They have. And to be fair, they are still hedging their bets with a multi-energy strategy. They aren't abandoning hybrids, but they're introducing the urban cruiser, and they are teasing electric versions of absolute icons. The RAV4, the Land Cruiser,
Even the Hilux?
even the Hilux. And think about the torque. For a work truck, an electric motor makes so much sense.
Right. Instant power for towing. But the company that seems to be having the most fun is Honda. Tell us about the Super Inn.
The Super Inn. It's a boxy, cute little key car. One of those tiny Japanese city cars. But here's the kicker. It has fake gear shifts.
Wait, what? Fake gear shifts. In an EV, it has one gear. Why?
Purely for the fun of it, to keep the driver engaged. It simulates the torque drop and the rev noise. Honda is realizing that EVs can be technically perfect, but a bit boring. So they're engineering fun back in.
That is a really interesting choice. Okay, we'll come back to that idea. But first, let's leave the sensible cars and talk about the stuff that makes us drool. High performance, luxury, and some just plain weird tech.
Well, if we are talking performance, there is one name that dominates the conversation in 2026. Ferrari.
The Ferrari Electrica. I still struggle to wrap my head around a silent Ferrari. It just feels wrong.
It sounds like an oxymoron, doesn't it? The brand is built on the scream of a V12, but they have solved it in a very Ferrari way.
How? Please tell me it's not just MP3s playing through speakers.
No, never. They are actually amplifying the physical vibrations from inside the motor casing and the transmission components.
To create a real noise.
Exactly. It's the voice of the machine, just boosted so you can hear it and feel it. And like Honda, they're using synthetic gear shifts to give you that kick in the back. They don't want it to feel smooth. They want it to feel aggressive.
It's wild that they're engineering soul back into the machine. But not everyone is doing that, right?
Nope. You have the sound of silence camp. Looked at the Mercedes EQS or the new Range Rover Electric. Their goal is absolute isolation. A sanctuary.
And speaking of the Range Rover, that's finally here.
It is. And if you think about it, electric torque is perfect for off-roading.
Mm.
Precise, instant, no engine to stall in deep water. It's the ultimate wading vehicle.
But for weird tech, I have to ask, that feels like a risk. I mean, tech fails. Glass usually doesn't.
It is a bold move. It asks the driver to trust the tech completely, but it shows that EV design is finally breaking away from the old rules.
Okay, one more tech thing. The Caterham Project V. It mentioned an immersion battery. What is that?
This is fascinating. So heat is the enemy of batteries, especially on a track. Instead of heavy cooling plates, the battery cells are actually immersed in a non-conductive cooling liquid.
They're literally swimming in coolant.
Literally. It allows for extreme thermal management. You can drive it hard, generate massive heat, and the battery stays happy because the liquid pulls heat away instantly from every surface.
That is so cool. Okay, let's step back for a second. We've talked about this massive boom, but there is a slightly simmering section in our research called bet hedging.
Yes, this is the reality check. Despite all these new EVs, the transition hasn't been a straight line. The market had some wobbles.
This explains why we're still seeing gas engines from companies that promise to go all electric.
Exactly. Look at Porsche with the Boxster and Cayman. The original plans were to go pure electric much faster. Now they're keeping petrol and hybrid options alive longer. It's a multi-energy world.
It makes sense. Don't cut off your revenue stream before the new one is stable. What about the battery tech itself? Are we still waiting for solid-state batteries?
Yeah, are close. Toyota, Nissan, BMW are all testing them. They promise more range, faster charging. But in 2026, they are barely starting to appear in limited production.
So for the normal buyer, not really a thing yet.
Not yet. The real workhorses of 2026 are still improved lithium-ion and the new LFP and sodium-ion batteries.
Sodium ion. That's salt, basically.
Basically. It's cheaper, the materials are abundant, and it's very durable. A bit less energy-dense than lithium, but perfect for those sub-25K city cars we talked about.
Before we wrap up, there was a specific warning in the architecture source. A bit of a reality check about physics that I think is a useful tip.
Yes, this is important. We're all excited about 350 kilowatt charging. 15 minutes, it feels like magic. But the physics hasn't changed. Fast DC charging generates heat, and heat degrades batteries.
So you shouldn't do it every single day.
The data suggests that exclusive use of fast charging degrades batteries about 2.3% faster per year than slow AC charging. Now, 2.3% doesn't sound like much, but it adds up over 10 years.
So the takeaway is, use the superchargers for road trips, but plug in at home or work on the slow charger if you can.
Exactly. Treat the supercharger like a fast food meal. Great when you're in a rush, but maybe not the healthiest diet for every day. Your battery will thank you.
Good advice. You know, looking at all of this, the cheap city cars, the doorless Jeeps, the screaming Ferraris, what stands out to me is that cars have personality again.
I was just thinking that. For a while there, EVs all felt like appliances. Smooth, silent, heavy blobs. But 2026 feels like the year cars got interesting again.
We have better design, we have distinct personalities, and prices that finally make sense.
It feels like the industry has rediscovered its mojo. It's not just about saving the planet anymore, it's about making cool machines.
But I want to leave you with a thought. We talked about the Ferrari making fake noise and the Honda having fake gear shifts.
It raises a big philosophical question.
It does. Are we moving toward a future where the experience of driving is entirely synthetic? Are we just layering fake nostalgia, fake shifts, fake rumbles on top of new tech just to make ourselves feel comfortable?
Or is that fake feeling actually the new reality? That is a fascinating thing to consider. Is the soul of the car in the pistons and gears, or is it in the software simulating them?
And honestly, if it puts a smile on your face, does it matter if it's real?
That's the question.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Listen, we really appreciate you spending your time with us on this deep dive. We know everyone is busy, so we are genuinely grateful for your curiosity.
Yes, thank you for letting us guide you through this. It's an exciting time, and we love breaking it down with you.
It sure is. Thanks for listening. Take care of yourselves, and we'll catch you in the next one.